come on, man. Okay. I had to get that out of my system. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with a breaking news update in the realm of Xbox. And for many of you out there who have followed me for years, especially in the realm of Bethesda Game Studios, this is bittersweet as it can possibly get. As many of you, I'm sure, have already heard, Starfield and Redfall have been delayed to the first half of 2023. I have a lot of thoughts on this, of course, with Bethesda Game Studios and Starfield. This is their first ever delay since Oblivion. Funny enough, the game that, if you noticed, throughout a lot of my coverage, I've drawn parallels to. Oblivion, funnily, was delayed from the fall in 2005 with the launch of Xbox 360 to spring 2006. So that spiritual connection lives on. That's significant for Bethesda Game Studios, but there is much, much more to be said on what's going on with Xbox, what's going on with Bethesda Game Studios, the good and the bad. So if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I dropped the whole quality shtick for a video. You may notice I'm on my webcam instead of behind that bookcase over there, or in front of it, sorry. That is because we want to get this out ASAP. Okay. The update on Redfall and Starfield from Bethesda's Twitter account is we've made the decision to delay the launches of Redfall and Starfield to the first half of 2023. The teams at Arcane Austin, Redfall, and Bethesda Game Studios, Starfield, have incredible ambitions for their games, and we want to ensure that you receive the best, most polished versions of them. We want to thank everyone for their excitement for Redfall and Starfield. That energy is a huge part of what inspires all of us every day and drives our own excitement for what we are creating. We can't wait to share our first deep dive into the gameplay for both Redfall and Starfield soon. Thank you for your support. So if it wasn't already a guarantee, pretty much locking it in, like you're going to see extensive previews of both these games. Oh my God. Let's start off with the good. Of course, I don't want to get super pessimistic here, but there's a lot to be sad about. And I'm going to be a sad boy. Even while I'm rocking my Starfield shirt, foolishly. I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. So, the good. Bethesda Game Studios has officially learned from Fallout 76 through and through. When 76 came out, we didn't even think we'd get an apology for that game. Todd Howard came out on stage, E3 2019, addressed the elephant in the room, expressed disappointment in the game. He understood where the community was at. The team understood where the community was at. And that was step one. It was being gracious in defeat. 76 was a massive flop. I don't care if you like it now. Not my problem. It was a flop. Okay? And they understood that. And then step two was moving into Starfield. Nail it. How do they nail it? Take your time. Now, Bethesda Game Studios is always the slam dunk in the holiday season. For them to be pushed back to the spring for the first time in 16 years is nothing short of significant and a statement at the quality measures they are taking for Starfield. Now, a little bit of an update on this. Jason Schreier, who had originally reported about the release window for Starfield, said the following. Last spring before E3, I spoke to some folks on Starfield who were extremely worried about committing to an 11/11/22 date based on the progress they had made so far. The next Cyberpunk was the term floated about. Good on Bethesda for delaying even after announcing that specific date. Quote, why did you wait until today to say this, end quote? Because game development is nonlinear and turbulent. Even the people working on a project can only guess how it'll turn out. Wouldn't have been useful info last year, but it's helpful context for what may seem like an unusual delay. So a little bit of insight there. I would have let loose on information like that immediately if people are getting that vibe, because certainly Jason Schreier's never had an issue doing that in the past, so I find it very interesting that he sat on that one. But if the next Cyberpunk is the term being floated around, and you take a good hard look at Cyberpunk when it released in 6 months from that release, it doesn't make too much of a difference. It wasn't until like about a year and a half, 2 years out from its release that it was actually starting to see some semblance of progress. And it actually got to the spot it was supposed to be in at launch. So hopefully Starfield is far enough along that this is a game that will be in a good state coming to release in 2023. Of course, what's more unfortunate is they did not put any type of date. They put a window. A window tells me they're really unsure. What's perhaps most befuddling is the mixed messaging we got. Phil Spencer posts on his Twitter account that pretty much he had just seen Starfield, right? It's really great to be with Bethesda, seeing games and talking with the talented teams here. So by that point, they probably, I would imagine, knew about a delay. But from us who didn't know about it, we're looking at it like, oh, he's previewing what's going to be at the Bethesda Xbox showcase. We're seeing a lot of Into the Starfield documentaries. They've locked in this date since last June. So if they were going to need a delay at any point, you think it'd be sooner rather than later, let alone when they announced the showcase that afterwards they would announce the delay. It's a weird sequence of events to me that symbolizes they may have hit a roadblock somewhere, that they looked at the game really hard and went, it's just not there yet. So again, that's the good news. They recognized the game wasn't there yet and they didn't try to brute force it out in the fall. This also symbolizes potentially, and I have a lot to say on the state of Xbox right now, so we're going to get into that. This does symbolize that Xbox may have learned a more recent lesson from Halo Infinite. I shared this on Twitter. Immediately, people tried to fire back that it did get a year delay. This is true, but Halo Infinite needed more time. I love Halo Infinite. I thought it was a fun game, but content in a live service game is a thing that you need to be ready for. And for Halo Infinite to be caught up in its own content cycle, it needed probably till March for Season 1 to be caught up so then they could release Season 2 much quicker and Season 3 subsequently and so on and so forth. That would have really put that game in a better spot. And you already had a stacked 2021 lineup where Halo Infinite in the spring would have definitely offset the disappointment here of Starfield as well as Redfall not coming out this year. Because here's the big thing, is that Xbox delaying this shows that they have some type of an understanding of just focusing on the quality of the product. And I hope that continues to be the case moving forward. But I'm talking about for the goals of that product, like the live service goals of it, they did not have its best interest in mind. They only had the holiday window in mind. They released the multiplayer early, even though it clearly wasn't ready to go, but that sent a completely different message to Xbox fans. Like, this game was so ready that they dropped the multiplayer early on the anniversary, and we're a live service game, so they must have had content ready, but they didn't. So I'm hoping that they've learned from that, and that's why they're also delaying Starfield. The worst part of this all, though, without a shadow of a doubt, and one that you can be rightfully pissed off about, in my opinion, is the next era of Xbox, as I like to call it, right? The beginning of new things, right? We've seen Gears, Halo, Forza forever. Finally, it was about to change. And we could still enjoy those things, but the new team, the rookies, had arrived, right? Your investment in a studio space in 2020 was about to bear fruit. And we have to wait again. And that's kind of been the story for the platform. Just wait. This year's going to be lit. Just wait now. 2023 is going to be insane. And you imagine by the point that a lot of these games are in development that they have to deliver in 2023, and we can only just worry about if the games will be good or bad. But that is immensely frustrating as an Xbox fan. Like, I play all platforms, but I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm not looking at Xbox more than anything because I run a podcast around it. It's very centric to the news we cover here. It's centric to a lot of companies I've covered on the channel for years. Xbox means a lot to me and many other fans. And delivering exclusives, I want everyone to play, but delivering exclusives creates an identity for your platform. When you look at the trajectory of the series consoles, it's fascinating the success they've found, right? Because they launched their console with EA Play joining Game Pass, but no games, right? That's when they delayed Halo while Halo was on the box. Fall 2021 arrives. You feel like, okay, we're getting the last out of our system of the stuff we know about. The first half of the year is empty because we're all looking at the second half going, well, it's go time when Starfield Redfall hits, on top of some other things like Project Belfry, Pentiment that we know nothing really about. You know, new things are coming on top of like a Forza Motorsport 8 and maybe like a Gears Master Chief style collection, which has been in the rumors for a while. But now you strip out Starfield, you strip out Redfall, and we are left with potentially Project Belfry. We're left with potentially something like Pentiment, these new things, but smaller new things. And you're left with the big boys being the things that Xbox fans have known for generations. A new Forza Motorsport, probably Gears of War collection, if that's to actually happen. And suddenly that hurts a little bit different. Right? It's not just the same pain as a delay and going, shucks, was excited for that game. For Xbox fans in particular who have been waiting for new IP, who have been waiting for new blood to enter the system, they have been delayed as well. Like, the fan base has been delayed. Xbox's future, their new era, has been delayed. And you're getting about as raw of a reaction as you can get right now. I woke up, saw the news. We recorded Defining Duke. I'm recording this now. It hurts. It hurts. There's no dancing around this. It changes the feeling of the showcase. It changes the feeling of 2022. It changes the feeling of Xbox's trajectory because, again, you look at them launching the console with no games, 2021 hits, familiarity, 2022 hits, and now it's quite barren. The first half of the year, there's certain things out of their control, right? What happened with Stalker 2, I will never, ever blame Xbox for. Completely out of their hands. But this is what happens when you don't have a robust lineup prepared for your console, right? This is what happens. They're still paying the price for their lack of preparation from the Xbox One era, where you really take a hard look at it. And they're still paying the price for things like if you pushed Halo back, you could have had something to offset things. There needs to be wiser product management here because it's clear they understand the value of getting a good product out by delaying things, by giving Halo Infinite a year, by giving Starfield and Redfall their time. Clearly they understand that because they had to have weighed this out and went, this is going to be a horrible look for us. But on that same note, there has to be better product management on having content ready for your fan base. So is it too late for them to establish some day one Game Pass deals? Are there surprise exclusives we don't know anything about? Because that's what identifies your platform right now. These are the answers you need to have. And it's hard to imagine that within a month, literally as the time of recording this, 1 month away from the showcase, that they have those answers. And especially when you think of Jeff Keighley's show, what could be there for Xbox, and how they have to spread the wealth there, and then maybe Gamescom. Everything hits a lot different now. It feels like a lot of the air has been sucked out of the room. The pin's been put in the balloon. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. Y'all know me. Like, I am king hype. I love being excited for games. Unapologetically so. Look at my freaking t-shirt. Come on. It takes a lot for me to come out here and really level with y'all, which I always level with y'all. But then to be like, this just sucks. I don't know how else to talk about it other than this sucks. To me, the silver lining is obvious. We will get a better game for it. That's great. But I think there's much more severe ramifications for Xbox as a brand here. And it's why on Defining Duke, me and Cog had always said, everyone was celebrating in 2021. They're like, watch out, 2022, here we come. We're like, yo, PlayStation is looking to have a great year. I know y'all like the console war. I don't, but PlayStation's having a great year, right? I know outside of GT7, Horizon looks awesome. They're continuing to update their games. PS Plus, they're announcing this big competitor. That's looking to be launching on time. And then God of War, maybe in the fall. That's what happens when you have a robust content cycle. You have answers for things, continuous content for your fan base. And while Game Pass is phenomenal, I'm never going to shrink that down. Again, the first party exclusives got to be there, man. They got to be there. And this is why they're investing in studios. But what I'm a little bit worried about long-term is 2023 is now the thought process for a lot of us was okay, we're going to get Starfield Redfall this year. Next year, we're probably going to get Avowed, maybe Fable in 2023 on top of some other things we don't know much about. And you start looking at things and how they shake out and you get a little bit of the spreading of the wealth, right? 2024 is looking like Perfect Dark, Everwild. Okay. Yeah, we got a little bit of big first-party exclusives every year. And Xbox's ultimate goal is to get rolling quarters. And maybe that's what they're going to have here in 2023. But to me, it's feeling like we're just about to shotgun blast everything that's been building up to from 2018, right? Of course, there are other studios, and once Activision joins the fold, they'll be a little bit different. But even Activision, a lot of their games they're kind of symbolizing aren't going to be exclusive. So things that identify the platform will still continue to be rare as far as we know, but there's only so much we can foresee. I'm just thinking really far ahead here because there's more studio acquisitions they can do. There's more third-party exclusives they can net like a Contraband. There's a lot still in the pipeline for Xbox, but this, without a shadow of a doubt, hurts. And it really doesn't paint a pretty picture for them. As a fan of Bethesda Game Studios especially, I'm very sad. This is my most anticipated game of the year. Every day I was thinking this fall, man, I can't wait. It's going to be those times again where we're just celebrating a BGS launch. And it'll come, right? It'll come. We'll have it in the first half of 2023. But now it's going to even be different for a Bethesda Game Studios launch. Think about it, right? We usually see the gameplay and the party starts because we're like, yo, here we go. It's time. We're getting this in 5 months. Isn't that insane? And now we're going to see it for the first time. And now realize that this is sometime in 2023. And that still doesn't take the hype out of the room. I'll probably still cry when I see this game because I'm so excited. I can't wait. And that's why it's bringing me down an extra level, because I am very excited for this game. And it just sucks to wait. But beyond waiting, I just think, again, it hurts the Xbox brand. But it changes how Bethesda Game Studios has to market things. And I really hope, because Xbox, as you guys have seen with the content on my channel, Xbox has not had an issue doing hands-on previews. Restore the faith, Xbox. If y'all, I know y'all watch my videos. I'm not saying this because I want to play the game as great as that's going to be. Restore the faith. Let people know about these games. Let people play these games. By people, obviously, I mean like the press, the media. I would love for you all to play it, but I don't think they'll do that. Let folks play these games. Maybe Redfall gets a beta. That's always a possibility. But restore the faith that these delays are going to be worth it, and that the pipeline so many people have bought Xboxes for, is going to be worth it. You've got to restore the faith. You got to have answers. At the end of the day, this is a massive L. This is a black eye you just got to take, because there's no filling in something like Starfield. There's no filling in something like Redfall. You can't. You can't fill in those first-party exclusives. But this is why preparation is key. I don't think any of us saw this one coming. Maybe some of you did. Some of you did call a delay, and I'll tip my cap to those of you. Me, hell no, not at all. So this kind of hit me like a freight train. I was like, I woke up, saw this. Like, what? No friggin' way. Anyway, a passionate rant. Very sad about this news. We'll talk about this more, I'm sure, this week. Of course, I'm defining Duke, but I'm sure there will be more of a shakeout on this delay and the future of Xbox, and we'll return to this discussion maybe when I'm less emotional. So, wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave it in your hands. What do you think about what's going on with Bethesda, Xbox, the delays, the future of this console? Am I being too doom and gloom? It's very rare, I think, I come across that way. So I'm open to being that way and hearing that I'm in the wrong, but I don't think I am. So fire away. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all in the next video. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.